Good afternoon from Yummy B TV. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love to you all as usual. Now, before I go on my travels for the day, right, it's too hot out there for me. I was going to do a video in the park, but the leaves were blowing and making a lot of noise on the video. I remember some of you warned me about that before. So I popped back in here to do this. But the question being asked of me is about so-called witnesses in criminal court cases giving evidence behind the screen, and specifically we talk about in this video those that have voice changers as well to conceal their identity. Now we've got the kind of normal procedure when witnesses go behind the screens, where it's because they don't want to look at the defendant behind in the dock and meet his stare, because it could be quite intimidating, especially if they've murdered someone close to you, and especially if they know who you are, right? So that's a common behind the screen one. But after all, the defendant knows who is behind that screen, because they're allowed to read the statements, they're allowed to know who the witness is. So strictly for those reasons alone, that's one reasoning behind having a screen, right? So the one we're talking about today is the one you asked me about, is how could it be, Uncle Yummy, that we've heard of cases where there's witnesses behind the screen with the voice changers, but the defendants don't know who they are. So to just give you this as decisively as possible, what I found, unless some of you are going to tell me different about recent times, but as far as I know, there's been a few cases, right? And I can remember 3, 4, or 5 where the defendants weren't allowed to know who the witnesses are. They appealed and got an unfair trial thing and got a retrial, etc., etc. But there is one case where they appealed in 2, 3, 4 different courts, all the way up to the Human Rights Court, and their appeal for a retrial was dismissed. So I think it's the only case where defendants don't know who the witnesses are, that didn't win their case for a retrial or getting released on those grounds of an unfair trial. The case we're talking about is the Birmingham 4, right? Who I met in the category A's with a sad shooting on New Year's Eve with Letitia Shakespeare, I think, and Charlene Ellis. A couple of other people got shot and injured at the same time. Now, there's meant to be a running feud with the Burger Bars and the Johnson crew, right? Now, me, personally, I would say that it's still an unfair trial, because this could the two reasonings. I think one of the reasonings is that a prosecutor, please go to the prosecutor, outline why they believe that the defendant shouldn't be allowed to know who the witnesses are. The reasoning behind that is they could be serving police officers, or people that want to stay undercover and that kind of stuff. There's other cases where this could be used, like in sexual cases and that kind of stuff, right? But the second thing is obviously the fear and the intimidation of the witnesses, especially if the witnesses have criminal convictions and are still ongoing criminals, or the witnesses are known or in the area of the same vicinity of the defendants, or maybe outside, I don't know, and they can be got at where they wouldn't be able to, their lives would be in danger, right? In danger by the defendants. So what was different about this case to everybody else's? You know what I mean? Because we're also going to really, really highlighting the other day, especially with the shootings on Merseyside or Wirral or Liverpool in recent times as well. What was different about the Birmingham 4? Now, I had a long look at 4 of them for a long, long period of time, and all 4 of them walked with their heads down a lot of the time, not happy prisoners in their belief, who believe they've been unjustly done. Now, do you have some idea about who the witnesses are and blah, blah, blah? It can pass through your mind, but you're never going to know with the voice distortions and all that kind of stuff. They might have a rough idea. It could be family, friends, etc., who feel that, you know, they can't go and show their face because, but, you know, because of the morality, the moral code of, you know, you've killed 2 girls and shootings and, you know, you shouldn't really be out here. We know that you did it, or they're quite sure they did it. But again, police and prosecutors are moving the goalpost to suit the case. You can never get a fair trial if you're not allowed to question the witnesses. I can't see how it could be humanly impossible, how it could be possible, how you could be lying on your bed in prison knowing that you've been unjustly and unfairly treated, and all reasoning behind it, because you have to think, if you take those witnesses away that you don't know who they are, if you take them out of your case, right, is there a chance that they could win that case? You know what I mean? That's my reasoning behind it all. Now, the final point, right, before I sign off, is that oh, come on, Yami. The witnesses intimidation, on those other cases, like, just saying, right, that's it. They might be behind the screen and don't know who the defendants are. 2 people that won those cases. But when they came back from court, they were saying, nah, Yami, it's my man behind there. He was in jail with him on remand. He's from Brixton, right? It's him. I know it's him by just the way he's speaking and blah, blah, blah. So they had a rough idea of who the witnesses were. They eventually won their cases. You know what I mean? And they were spot on with who they thought was doing the dirty during those trials. So see you all later on. If I get to where I'm going to quick enough tonight, I might come up with a drama story. Special love to you all as well. The live last night, big up to all of you lot as well. Special love to you. I went a bit mad last night, but we're going to talk more about it later on, right? Let me get on my bike.